The vault room glimmers with golden light cast by magical sconces, their glow reflecting off rows of precious jewels, coins, and ancient artifacts. Kale Ardain, a skilled thief with a cocky smirk and sharp eyes, moves silently through the opulent space. He's dressed in dark leather armor, tools clinking softly at his side. Kale isn't here for just any treasure. His target is the Eye of Valora, a rumored relic said to bring unimaginable fortune to its bearer. He scans the vault, his fingers brushing past priceless artifacts until he finds it, a small, gem-encrusted box, glowing faintly. Kale. Grinning. Easy pickings. I thought these nobles were supposed to be clever. He pulls out his lock-picking tools and goes to work. The intricate mechanism resists, but Kale's persistence pays off. With a satisfying click, the box opens, revealing a black crystal, pulsating faintly like a heartbeat. Kale's grin fades as an icy chill creeps over the room. He hesitates, sensing something ancient and dangerous awakening. What in the... Before he can finish, the crystal emits a blinding light. A rush of wind howls through the vault, and Kale is thrown back against the wall. When the light fades, the vault is eerily silent, except for a faint whisper that seems to echo from the crystal. Suddenly, a figure begins to materialize before him, a ghostly guardian, clad in spectral armor with eyes glowing like embers. You dare disturb the Eye of Valora? Kale stares in shock, his cockiness replaced by growing fear. Ah. Look, I didn't mean to. The guardian raises a hand, and spectral chains lash out, binding Kale's wrists. Silence, thief. Your fate is sealed. Until my vengeance is fulfilled, you are bound to me. Kale struggles against the chains, but they won't budge. Vengeance. Wait a second, can't we talk about this? The guardian steps closer, their ethereal form towering over Kale. The one who imprisoned me resides in this house. Their bloodline must pay for their treachery. You will deliver justice, or your soul will be forfeit. Kale's eyes widen in realization. You've got the wrong guy. I'm just here for the loot. The guardian doesn't respond. The spectral chains tighten, pulling Kale to his feet. You are my vessel now. The relic binds us. You cannot escape. The whispers from the crystal grow louder, and the room begins to shake. The vault door swings open, revealing guards rushing in, their swords drawn. Intruder. Stop right there. Kale looks at the guardian, who seems unaffected by the mortal guards. Kale. Groaning. Great. Just great. With the guards closing in and the spectral guardian looming over him, Kale knows his night just got a lot more complicated. The guards charge into the vault, shouting orders to seize Kale. He tries to explain, but the guardian speaks first, their voice commanding and otherworldly. They serve the one who imprisoned me. Do not hesitate, fight, or die. Kale's hands move involuntarily, drawing his dagger as if guided by an unseen force. Oh, come on. I don't even like killing people. The first guard swings, and Kale barely dodges. The guardian raises a spectral hand, and a burst of ethereal energy knocks the guards back, scattering them like leaves in a storm. Kale stares at the guardian, stunned. Okay. That was kind of cool. The guardian ignores him, their glowing eyes fixed on the doorway. We must find the heir. Their blood will break the curse. Blood. You mean, like, killing them? The guardian doesn't answer directly, but their silence is enough. Kale's mind races. He doesn't want to be a part of this, but the spectral chains binding him make it clear he doesn't have a choice. He grabs the crystal, tucking it into his pouch as the guardian leads the way. The two slip past more guards, the guardian using their spectral powers to create illusions and confuse their pursuers. Kale can't help but marvel at the ghostly figure, even as he grumbles under his breath. You know, for a dead guy, you're pretty bossy. The guardian halts, turning to Kale with a look that could chill even the bravest of warriors. Do not test me, mortal. The relic binds us, but I can make your existence far more unpleasant. Kale throws up his hands in surrender. Right. Noted. Lead the way, O spooky one. As they approach the grand hall of the estate, Kale begins to piece things together. The noble family's riches, the enchanted vault, and the relic, it all points to something much bigger than a simple theft. Kale realizes he's not just caught in a curse, he stumbled into a centuries-old vendetta. The ornate grand hall of the noble's estate is filled with flickering lanterns and looming shadows. Kale follows the Guardian reluctantly, the spectral chains tethering them together glowing faintly. Kale. Whispering. So, we find this heir of yours, and then what? We hand them a sternly worded letter. I'm not exactly a fan of the whole blood vengeance thing. The Guardian ignores him, moving toward a grand staircase. Their ethereal form flickers as they glance around the room, their voice a low growl. They must pay for their treachery. Their blood will satisfy the Relic. Kale clenches his fists. Look, I'm not a killer. I don't care what some cursed rock says. There has to be another way. The Guardian stops abruptly, turning to Kale. You dare defy the will of the Relic? You do not understand the depth of their crime. They betrayed me, stole my soul, and bound it to this curse for eternity. Kale meets the Guardian's fiery gaze, his voice calm but firm. Yeah, well, maybe you were a jerk. Ever think of that? The tension hangs thick in the air until the sound of footsteps and voices echoes through the hall. Guards are closing in, torches illuminating the shadows. Search everywhere. They won't get far. Kale grabs the Guardian's arm, or tries to, his hand passing through their incorporeal form. We don't have time for this. If I die, you're stuck here forever, right? So let's not waste time arguing. The Guardian glares at him but nods. Kale and the Guardian sneak through a hidden passage behind a tapestry. The cramped, dimly lit corridor leads them deeper into the estate. As they move, the Guardian begins to open up, their voice heavy with centuries of pain. The noble who cursed me feared my power. They lured me into a trap, stole the Relic, and bound me to it. My spirit cannot rest until their bloodline is ended. Kale hesitates, considering the weight of the Guardian's words. Okay, that sucks. But maybe there's a middle ground. I'm just saying, revenge doesn't usually solve anything. The Guardian's spectral form flickers, their anger barely restrained. Spare me your lectures, thief. You know nothing of justice. They emerge from the passage into a study, its shelves lined with ancient tomes and scrolls. On a desk lies a ledger, open to a family tree. Kale scans it quickly. Here we go. Lord Alric Velmont. He's your guy, right? The Guardian stiffens, their fiery gaze fixed on the name. His blood is the key. Find him. The door to Velmont's private chamber creaks open. Inside, Lord Velmont, a frail but regal man, sits by the fire, a glass of wine in hand. Kale enters cautiously, the Guardian trailing behind. Velmont looks up, startled but composed. Who are you? How dare you? The Guardian steps forward, their voice echoing with fury. Do you know me, Velmont? Do you remember the one you betrayed? Velmont's face pales as recognition dawns. It can't be. You're supposed to be dead. Kale steps in, holding up his hands. Take a breath, okay. Nobody's dead, well, except for the ghost over here. The Guardian ignores Kale, advancing on Velmont. You stole my soul. You cursed me to an eternity of torment. Now, your blood will set me free. Velmont scrambles backward, fear etched into his features. I did what I had to. You were a monster, unstoppable, power-hungry. The Relic was the only way to stop you. Kale's eyes widen, the pieces falling into place. Wait. Is that true? Were you some kind of tyrant? The Guardian halts, their form flickering. Lies. I was a protector. They envied my power. Velmont shakes his head. You were a conqueror. You would have destroyed us all if I hadn't stopped you. Kale steps between them, raising his voice. Enough. I don't care who's right or wrong. I'm not letting anyone die tonight. The Guardian's chains tighten around Kale, pulling him back. You have no choice. Kale struggles against the chains, his mind racing. He notices the crystal glowing faintly in his pouch. If this thing bound you to the Relic, maybe it can break the curse, too. He pulls out the crystal, holding it up. You want freedom? Let's see if this works. The crystal pulses with energy as Kale smashes it against the ground. A burst of light fills the room, and the chains dissolve. The Guardian screams, their form flickering violently. What have you done? The energy envelopes both the Guardian and Velmont. For a moment, the room is silent. Then, the Guardian's voice softens, no longer filled with rage. I am free. Their form fades, leaving only a faint glow in the air. Velmont collapses, unconscious but alive. Kale stares at the shattered crystal, breathing heavily. Well, that wasn't so hard. Kale slips out of the estate, the first rays of sunlight breaking over the horizon. The weight of the night's events lingers, but the chains are gone, and the Relic's curse is broken. As he walks away, he mutters to himself. No more cursed jobs. From now on, it's simple heists. Just me, some jewels, and nobody trying to kill me. A faint breeze stirs behind him, and he glances back, half expecting to see the Guardian. But there's nothing there, just the rising sun and the promise of a new day. Then again, maybe I'm getting used to the excitement. With a shrug, he disappears into the city, leaving the noble's estate, and the Relic's curse, behind him.